when I made that change personally to my game, my hitting percentage went up 10%, which is bonkers. I just found out, well, a coach told me after watching film, oh, all of your errors are happening in transition. And then once I cleaned that up and I just stopped making errors, my hitting percentage popped. So if there's one solution you could have on bad sets, stop trying to crank. Welcome to the Better at Beach podcast. My name is Mark Burik, and I am here with Brandon Joyner. And today we are going to talk about how to choose what swings, what attack you use. We're also going to maybe go through a couple of little arm swing differences between shots, cut shots, high lines, a little bit of pokey action, and just help you guys diversify and choose your attacks. I think a lot of players end up using too many attacks. I think, beginner players and intermediate players are super readable to experienced players. And so that creates one problem. But then I think the other problem is that they don't know what they want to do. So if you don't have an idea when you're attacking of what your attack is going to look like, if it's not pre-framed or designed in your mind, if you can't serve with your attack in mind, like when you serve, where are you going to dig it? And then what is that going to end in your attack? Like that's going into defense really deep. But when we're receiving, we should have a design in mind for what type of attack we're going to end up using. And then we're just going to show you today some ways to maximize that and talk about a little bit of offensive theory. I also want to touch a little bit of review on the AVP League that happened in the Intuit Dome. I got to attend my first league event, and we also have a few camps coming up. So first things first, on YouTube, I want to thank Onrad Florian Baumgartner for your becoming a super fan of our channel. Thank you for donating, helping us out, and keeping free content coming. We love you. If you guys are on YouTube, if you're watching this right now, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go do it. I really want to break 100,000 and get that plaque before the end of this summer. So if you're watching and you haven't subscribed or hit that button, please do that. And if you want to become a super fan of the show, that would be awesome. And you could find that in the links around the YouTube video. So thank you again, Onrad. Sorry for your name pronunciation. Onrad Florian Baumgartner. That's the best I can
think you did pretty good.
I mean, we're giving it a shot.
Great. Yeah. You did good. You did way better than I would have. I was like, wow, that's how you say it.
Yeah. Events for us coming up in Santa Monica, July 20th. That's 6 days from now. Sunday. We have a 3-hour arm swing, serving, and attack intensive clinic. I will be running that. July 25th, we'll be in Bend, Oregon. July 27th, Brandon is going to be running a passing and setting intensive in Santa Monica. August 1st, we're in Santa Rosa. August 8th, we're in Santa Monica for a 3-day camp. If you want to come out to California, come out for that 3-day camp. And August 22nd in Chicago, followed by a whole slew of events along the East Coast during the spring and fall. And we just added something new. If you guys want to book your own private camp, we get this a lot. Like, can you come to us? Can you run a 3-day event or a 2-day event for me and my group? I want you guys to head to betteratbeach.com/camps. And that's where you'll be able to book your own private camp. Essentially, the details are per coach per day, it's $2,500, and we just need a court. So if you've got a court in your backyard, if you know that you can just set up a pop-up tent anywhere on any beach and you just want to get good training, we'll go there for you. Historically, we just didn't do it because we wanted to open up these camps to get the maximum amount of people that we could there, and so that we could bring a whole team of coaches. but we just keep getting these requests. And so we decided to make something that has that same feeling, but that you can build. So with that flat rate, you can divide it with as many people as you can. The only thing that we won't do is have more than one coach for 12 people. Sorry, we won't. If there are more than 12 people, we have to bring another coach. Our training quality, we like to take care of our practices. We like to dedicate our time to each individual that we're working with. So if you say like, hey, I've got a group of 20 and we want to bring one coach, I'm not going to volunteer for that. I'm not going to volunteer our coaches for that because it's too surface. You're not going to get the same results as somebody who comes to any one of our camps where we're hovering somewhere between 8 and 12 players on one court for one coach. We think that that's the best mix to get an effective practice. So head to betterbeach.com/camps. Check it out, book your own private, or come to one of the ones that's already set up.
Love it. More camps.
Yeah, more camps. Do you?
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean,
can't wait to go work with some I think the coolest part about that is obviously the downfall is at our big camps you get to meet a bunch of new people. That's like opened so many doors for so many people. As far as like, oh, I'm traveling here, I already know people from there because of a Better at Beach camp. But this will be really cool because it'll be like your local group. So like if you have a group of friends that you want to all level up to the next area, you all play together in the same league, whatever, you're just good friends. It'll be cool to like walk into that environment and already have like a solid group, which is exciting.
Yeah, we did that once in Florida, maybe a year and a half ago, and we're already in the middle of booking one down in San Diego. And so it's going to be exciting. And we're going to keep bringing these events back to Southern California as well, where we can use the courts around here. So get in touch, come on out, hang out for some training, and meet a whole bunch of pros. It is awesome if you want to book a private event in Hermosa, in Redondo, in Manhattan Beach, just because you get to see the mecca of beach volleyball. You walk down the Strand and you're going to pass 7 Olympians who are just practicing out in the open. So it is the dream place for beach volleyball. So really recommend you and a crew of 6, 8, 10 people come out for 3 days of hardcore training, see some events, maybe play in a CBVA, and just watch some really high level practices.
Yeah, and I don't think those need to be limited to weekends. Like if people want to come during the week, like leading up to MBO or leading up to Smackfest or something like that, some cool event. That's personally what I would do. I would get a bunch of friends out there, have some training, play in a tournament, or go see a cool event.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Before we get into the arm swing and shot selection stuff, it's cool seeing you on the big stage. I mean, like absolute vote for coach of the year. You've got Marine and Chloe, who are back-to-back champions. You got Hagen and Logan, who are undefeated in the league. What's the vibe like on the inside of that stadium on center court? How does it feel for you? Because I'll tell you how I felt as a fan in my experience there.
I loved it. I mean, I had a great experience. The AVP took care of the players and coaches really well. I was just excited to go to the Intuit Dome. Like that's where the Clippers play. I'm a big basketball guy, so it was cool to like be on the floor of a building that's so cool. Mm-hmm. And then the event itself, like, I mean, you get there, close parking, like we got to park like underneath the stadium, which was really cool. All the check-in and everything, the food, catered food, trainers, everything for the players. And then, I mean, as far as the events go, this was my first one attending as well. So I don't have a on-site reference for the past ones, but it seemed big. Like it seemed like there were a lot of people there. I know Hagen did. It's kind of funny. Like I think he brought like over 300 people to the event, which is like,
Dang.
it's cool. I'm glad they like are leaning on local people to like provide fans.
Mm-hmm.
And then our match itself, like, I mean, Logan and Hagen are absolutely balling right now. They look good. They are playing aggressive. They have to be the most fun team to watch. Like just from like an energy standpoint from the
Yeah.
crowd, like it was kind of fun because the first night I was in like really big coach mode, and it was kind of hard going in there because they played in San Diego a couple weeks ago, and I wasn't able to go down, and they played awesome.
Mm.
And like I talked to him beforehand and kind of gave him like some little insights, but not being on the bench and seeing how successful they were as a coach coming in to this event, one of the things that I didn't want to do is like start overwhelming them with information.
Yeah.
So I actually didn't coach too much. It was more like, hey, find your breath, let's reset, stuff like that. Little reminders here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of just let them ball. And so the first night I was really detailed on the play and everything like that, and I didn't really speak too much about it. The second night I just wanted to like kind of experience it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when there are big plays and Hagen and Logan are going crazy and getting the crowd pumped up, I was able to look into the crowd, and it was really fun to see how much energy they were bringing the crowd and how much the crowd was bringing back the energy to them. Like
Yeah.
one of the things that we joke about a lot is like win the crowd, win your freedom, like classic gladiator quote. And like
Hagen
so
lives
many,
by that.
oh my gosh, there's one like little part on YouTube. I went back and watched the videos, and you can see Hagen and I like giving the thumbs up, like thumbs down, like the gladiator. And that was like one of the only things I said to him is I was like, hey man, like get this crowd going again. Like
Yeah.
this is what you live for. This is so exciting. Like lean into them. And he loves it. Yeah, and so it was really cool to walk away with two more wins. The boys are 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
And looking pretty good. You know, like obviously they have two more stops, Austin and then Dallas. But as long as they take care of business and do keep playing the way they are, I think they're kind of looking good for that championship in Chicago at the end of the year. Um, and yeah, I'm just proud of them. They're playing well.
From a match play standpoint, what were some critical, like, single point or 2 point strategies that either they came up with or you came up with or you decided on would work? Because I saw a few, I don't want to like ruin yours, but I
Yeah,
saw a few that I was like, yup, that's how you beat them. And they really worked out, or at least got opportunities. So
yeah.
what, like, one or two strategies that you said, this is the play we're going to run now, or if this happens?
I think well, it's so different with Chase and Miles, and then having Trevor and Phil the next night. With Chase and Miles, we were kind of trying one serve aggressive. That's been something that I've kind of been preaching to both the teams that I've been working with from the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. It's like if we're serving, we have to make them take a minimum of 2 steps to pass.
Yeah.
Like that's something that's big. And then with Miles and Chase, we really wanted to get them shooting. Like we wanted them to kind of start. Like we thought that if we could have them shooting 30-40% of the game, then that's a game we can walk away from.
Okay.
Like these games tend to they're very aggressive just because I mean whenever you bring sand into a facility like that, it's usually pretty shallow. And
Yeah.
these guys, every team in the league is very physical. So getting them to go away from power shots is like a pretty easy way to maybe pick up a couple points here and there and run some plays.
And for indoor,
Um,
it's so easy to get to the power shot, like opportunities. Like when you play indoor, when you play in Salt Lake City or any indoor, number one, you can control your serves, like pinned point accuracy, and then sets go where you want them. There's no micro changes. So like your ability to detonate when there's no wind, perfect conditions, like everybody can hit hard on almost every set when they're in system.
Right.
That's such a difference from indoor or perfect conditions where like the shots go way up the windier it is, obviously. But when you have dead conditions, especially indoor, like the pinpoint accuracy of serving that you can have plus feet to ball that allows you to crank more.
Right.
So how did you get them to shoot more?
I mean, one, it started with Logan. Like we've been working a lot with Logan on just being intimidating, like making sure that he's in a good lineup. I think at the beginning of the year, he was a little outside. And I think that would be, like in the past, Logan and Hagen wanted to feel like he could see attackers a little bit more.
Okay.
But what we've been working on is his lineup so that if he wants to grab a ball, he can grab the ball. Nice. And I think he did a fantastic job this weekend. You know, I think if we had to look at it, and if you look at stats, like the first time in San Diego, I think Hagen kind of went off, and I think Logan had a couple blocks, but like this weekend, it was more blocks from Logan and then aces from Hagen.
Yeah.
We weren't really converting a whole lot of defense, which is something we're going to continue to work on.
Although Hagen was fast back there on a lot of Trevor's shots.
So
I was
fast.
like,
yes,
man, he's picking up Trevor's shots quick. He was either in the right position or just lightning fast. And I was like, dang, you're getting either he was getting a beat or he was making his moves so late and so quick that he was getting some scoops.
Yeah, so I don't want to go too much into it just because I don't know who watches this stuff, but like Miles likes to stay aggressive. Chase is a big looker, you know, so like we were trying to get him, and I think we got points at the right times. That's the crazy part about, and I always tell this to like our camps and stuff like that, but like when you're playing defense, you're not necessarily trying to score every single time. Like you're trying to get as much information as you can so that the last half of the game you can pick up 2 or 3 points. And if you do that at the highest level, that's the difference between winning and losing. Yeah. And so even though there were like a couple of plays that maybe we could have earned, like it was more important about just saying, hey, we know that he's doing this in this situation. So especially on the last side switch that we did against Chase and Miles, kind of said to Hagen, I'm like, hey, we have to make a break here. Like, trust yourself, trust your instinct. If you see him slow down at all, just go. And we're able to get a couple of really important points at the right time. And then with Phil and Trevor, it's like Phil and Trevor, as far as volleyball IQ goes, those guys are up there. And like one thing that we talk about especially with Trevor, because I mean, Phil's still Phil. Like he touches the ball so high, he's usually so controlled and his angles are just so difficult to pick up on that you're kind of hoping that you get lucky on a couple. Like I don't know if he's not completely back with his calf. I know he was dealing with like a little calf strain, but he like kind of fluffed some balls, which is kind of a little out of the ordinary for Phil.
Yeah, I had like 2 hitting errors, and I was like, whoa, you don't see Phil hitting errors.
Right. And so you don't know if that's from the atmosphere, if it's from some kind of injury, because he did it on both nights. And so we had a feeling like we were hoping that he would do it again with us. But with Trevor, it's like the only thing I'll say is, and this will be a good segue into our talk today, is that he plays volleyball right. And a lot of the times, whatever, like, especially coaches or players that understand the system of the game, is that whatever shot he should make, he's probably going to make. And like, there are certain scenarios where you dig a ball here or you pass a ball here and you see this, so you go high line. And Trevor is one of those guys. The hard part about that is that when he hits them, they're perfect. So even if you know that he's going there, you have to be perfect on your end as well to even get a touch.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, there are just little ideas here and there that allowed us to kind of, and luckily, I mean, with how small the AVP is, we practice against these guys a decent amount. So we have like a little bit of in-person
Yeah.
scouting.
Everyone's got like an 8-year history against everybody. So if you
Right.
don't have a game plan
Exactly.
against people at this point, it's like, are you even paying
Yeah,
attention?
you're who knows what you're doing. But yeah, it was cool, and I think at the end of the day, they were able to make some of those plays and in the second halves, and were able to walk away with some victories. So it was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It was weird for me to see. I was kind of like, biting my tongue up there because it was weird for me to see Logan take down a match and win so well without being his aggressive self.
Yeah.
His shots were really solid, but in the past, like when I worked with him 2 years ago, like
Hmm.
his dominant matches were when he just went out cranking, and those are the photos that he had of himself like hitting over Phil, and I was like, you see what you can do.
Right.
And he ended up shooting a lot more in the match that I saw,
Hmm.
and some were effective, some got scooped, and I was like, oh, hit that ball.
Right. Yeah.
But I really loved the squat and drop peels against a shooter, and
Hmm.
we got a couple really good opportunities. And if you guys don't know what a squat and drop is, just when that player's arms go back and they take their last two steps, if you squat like ferociously, like you're about to block, and then out of the bottom of that squat jump, you start backpedaling instead and you leave your hands up, then you become a digger instead of a shot blocker and you relieve some pressure for your defender. And so you guys got 2 or 3 on Trevor like that I don't think converted, but I think led to enough pressure
Exactly.
that maybe end up in that block for match point.
Yeah. I think you're dead on. I going back to Logan, and this is something I think you and I preach the same thing a lot. That's one of the only things that I did say uh, as a coach is I was like, hey, you've had a couple really nice shots and they've fallen, but
Don't
don't
get
forget who you are.
comfortable. Yeah.
Don't forget who you are. Like stay aggressive, stay high. Um, yeah, and he's been doing a great job. I love him on the right. That was one of the moves that we made towards the beginning of this year. We had to start out the season. It was Hagen on the left, or Hagen on the right, Logan on the left, because Logan's played on the left for most of his career.
And his on two is
Um,
devastating from the
oh yeah,
left.
yeah. And so switching him to the right allows him to be high, allows him to just kind of swing and be aggressive. And once again, the angles that he's able to hit, it's like even if it's at a defender, it's 4 feet in front of them, or it's whistling by their ears,
Mm-hmm.
and it's tough. Um, but yeah, it was cool to see that. And then yeah, the defensive positions, they did a really good job of just reading the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the hardest things with this format of games only going to 15 is there's, especially at the highest level, a lot of guys, they'll use that time to the technical to like establish a strategy.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what the best players do. Obviously you have a strategy going in, but you're kind of confirming that strategy up until the first tech. And then after that, that's when you see a lot of real points coming and you see a lot of conversions. But with the game to 15, you don't, you still have that luxury,
Mm-hmm.
but it's extremely forced because and this is something that we're continuing to work on as well, is like, be okay taking a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially if the game's tight, be okay taking a chance. Whether it's Logan doing a squat and drop, or it's Hagen, even if it's a line block running a 4 and trying to just put something into the other attacker's head. Um, I think they did a really good job of implementing those when they could, and also just being okay with the outcome.
Yeah.
It can be extremely stressful, but it definitely can pay off too.
Yeah. It was sick to see too. 2 from behind comebacks to win
Oh
in
my
tight matches. So
gosh.
it was good volleyball. It was,
Yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
huge wins. Like, I mean, so far they've played the top, they've only had four games, and they've played Andy and Miles, are
Top
arguably
team.
the top team in the US, Miles and Chase twice, who
So the
the
2
other
Olympic teams.
the two Olympic teams had to play them 3 times. And then they had Phil and Trevor, who are currently, I think, at the top of the leaderboard. Like, I think if Logan and Hagen would have dropped to them, they would have popped into that number 1 spot.
Mm.
And so to get those wins against those teams, it was really big.
So I did a live stream yesterday with Aaron Wexler,
Yeah.
and we one thing that we were a little frustrated with, because we don't know, and it comes off of Kent Steffes's post as well. Like, what are they playing for? Like, I knew, not everybody knew, and as tremendous a job the McKibbins are doing with the social media. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to see a post that says like the $40,000 swing, like, because that one win that they got in Huntington equaled a $40,000 salary for the year for these 8 events.
Right.
But what do wins get the league players? Is there a cash prize that like incentivizes them to win?
So as far as and I'm not even clear on this, which is probably
That's a
bad, but
problem. Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's mainly just because it's not out there. I think that's something like I could ask Logan and Hagen a little bit more in depth, but from what I understand is the 20,000 per player, 40,000 per team. Those are pretty much appearance fees.
Okay.
And so that's just paying them to go and play in these events.
Yeah.
Based on their record, they make the championship. And if you make the championship, that's where extra money comes in. Those numbers I'm not sure of, but I know the top 6 teams per gender
Mhm.
get into that championship.
Okay.
And so, yeah, once they get into the championship, I think there's an added bonus. And then based on their finish, there's more of an increase.
And if Logan and Hagen go undefeated, and who's their partner team on the LA launch? The
Therese
girls,
and Megan, who I
Therese and Megan.
absolutely love.
They're awesome people, first of all.
They're awesome people and they're ballers.
But let's just say hypothetically, Logan and Hagen go undefeated and they don't win a single match. Can Logan and Hagen still get to the championship?
If it's by the team, so like you could see Logan and Hagen in the championship and not Therese and Megan.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Okay.
they changed it. I think last year it was per team, but I think they changed it this year to make it just
Okay.
men's, women's.
So they're buddies, but they're not
Yeah.
like their paycheck isn't relying on 2 girls who they
No, because
practice
I think
with.
last year what happened was if you made the championship, then you got, I think that maybe the team that won got like an extra 20, like
Okay.
20K, but it was split up between your team. So like no matter
Oh, so somebody
like
carried the weight. They're
yeah. So
giving
like
away. Yeah.
if the women's team crushed it and the men's team didn't, they still split that money. But this year, I think it's a little bit more separate.
Okay.
But again, that's all that could be completely wrong. I from my understanding, that's what it is.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
nice to get a clarifying post. Maybe I'll text
yeah,
Riley and Madison and be like, "Can you just make one post on what they're
yeah.
playing for?"
And again, just a quick shout out to those guys. They are apps. They like it feels very similar to when you and I started Better at Beach. It
Mm,
was like we're literally wearing every single hat and trying to accomplish every single goal,
mhm.
and those guys, they're responsible for so much.
Yeah.
Like they're doing a really, really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they get some help along the way and can pass off some of the
Yeah.
responsibilities,
And
but
don't
I
have to
understand
edit
it.
for 16 hours.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your shot selection. So, based on the things that we tell our teams, like when you're on offense, the first thing that you need to do is understand what you are good at. And for a lot of the players that we coach who, some 5'5" girls, some 5'8" to 5'10" guys, like that type of athlete, it's rare that you are going to be a hard hitter as your solution, right? Like there, if you're playing grass doubles and you're playing big court, it's my theory. A lot of people end up banging, but it's my theory that like you have so much space anyway. Like you should just shoot, and the hit is going to be your bailout when you're in trouble to have to put pace on that. When you shrink the court in 2-on-2, that shot area goes way down against tall people, like high blocking jumpers and super fast defenders. So you're really forced to hit a lot to win. And if you watch World Tour, it is almost exclusive hitting from the guy's side. Now, you've got that, but if you're just playing in your AA tournament, like, have you ever passed, gotten a set, and let's call it 8 out of 10 times thumped? Like that becomes a lot more rare and increasingly rare, like the level you drop. And so if you're choosing your offense and what type of swings you want, or what type of swings that you should repeatedly go for, you have to understand where you're actually getting kills first. Take an assessment of yourself, record a match, record 5 matches, and then say, okay, what were most of my kills on? Where were the times that I got dug the most? And then, really importantly, what situations do I make errors in? Some like simple keys that I can give you guys to increase your hitting percentage really quickly. And maybe it comes from personal pain, but if you've got a bad situation, so you passed or you dug a ball and it's way off the net and now it's in the back half of the line, or the back half of the court. So the set's coming from the back half of the court, and we saw Logan do this. This is not your opportunity to go steep, even if that set is perfect. And we saw like the Rosenthal and Casey Patterson highlight from like Vale or something, where Casey ends up absolutely thundering a ball that Sean set from the back court. But that it's rare. Gravity is increasing the speed of the ball down. Your timing on the ball is going to be worse. So any sort of risk there where you're trying to hit the ball down or steep when the ball's coming from the back half of the court with a high set, like, you are definitely more likely to run into the blocker and or the net. So if you could take one thing that will increase your hitting percentage for the large majority of the people, if you have a set from the back half of the court, don't try to hit down. Just hit flat, operate so that the ball crosses like at least a foot, maybe 18 inches over the top of the net, and use the back quarter of the court. But when I made that change personally to my game, my hitting percentage went up 10%, which is bonkers. I just found out, well, a coach told me after watching film, oh, all of your errors are happening in transition. Like you're getting all of these digs, always like top third of the tournament in digs per game, but always like between the second third and the bottom third of hitting percentage. And then once I cleaned that up and I just stopped making errors, my hitting percentage popped. And that's when I started getting like mid AVP for hitting percentage. So if there's one solution you could have on bad sets, stop trying to crank. Like recycle the ball, hit well, hit a ball that they have to chase, or like the absolute best option is make them play a ball over their shoulder level. if that ball crosses under their shoulder level where they can use the platform, most people are pretty experienced and good at that. If you get it arcing enough and speedy enough where they have to use an overhand play or they have to turn their shoulder to pass it, that alone will get you so many points just based on, even if they dig it well, they're not going to get a great set. They're not going to get a great attack because they're in the same position that you just were. And so now that's like a kind of a 3-touch recycle where you hit a ball, not really intending to get a kill, but you're going to see the next opportunity.
Right. Yeah. Kind of to go off that, and this is more of a broad offensive idea, but it is something I've been working on with Logan and Hagen and Marine and Chloe, is like your goal throughout games should be to be positive players. And what that means is, like, if you think about statting your games and you get a +1 for a kill, a 0 or a wash for just in play balls, and then you get a -1 for errors. Yeah. So, like, when you're statting your games, you're already going to go through and see what your favorite shots are. Go ahead and stat yourself with that plus-minus system, and then add it, get the sum at the end, and realize where you are. And so I really like doing that because you'll start to realize, and if you can start mentally doing it as the game's going on, then it'll allow you to understand when you can take chances and when you have to be a little bit safer. And so, like, if I start off the game and I have 4 kills in a row, then theoretically I'm at +4. So if I happen to have a pass that's a little off the net and I get a good set and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go for it, that's kind of an okay moment to do that, because even if I miss, I'm still at +3. You know, if, let's say, I start the opposite way and I'm at -4, then that's not an opportunity. That's not a time that I should really be taking a huge chance, because that's more than likely, if I take that big chance and I go down to -5, that's a pretty steep hill to climb. So thinking about that as well, like, washes are okay. You know, like, I loved what you said about they're going to end up in the same situation as you. And I think that was kind of, we talked about this when I was talking about the league, was like, when you're attacking, it doesn't always mean that you're trying to score.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to make the team as the most uncomfortable that they can be, so that if you get more opportunities, you're more in system, allowing your percentage chance to go up on your attempt to score. And so,
getting dug doesn't equal a loss.
Right.
Because if they dug it sloppy, that's a win. That's like a half plus point for you. You know, if you get them to overhand slap or reach and poke, like, okay, sure, they kept it alive, but you're still at an advantage because you're likely to see that next ball come back to you, and then you can control it and hit from where you want.
Yeah, I think that's a really big tool, especially if you're a coach and you're not thinking about this. Like, you have to start taking stats on your players of, are they plus players, are they minus players? And that will lead to a lot of answers. I promise.
We're trying to, like, with DJ, he's sort of finagled a way for me to coach him where he's like just asking me to play against him. And so I'm getting out there and we're competing. And then he texts me for the rest of the day saying, like, well, what did you think about this? What did you think about
Smart
this?
Man.
Yeah. But for him, like, establishing his hard line, because he thinks that he looks too long and then that affects his ability to hit. There's also some angle of approach things that we're experimenting with. And one of the things that I did, I said, if you are not confident in this swing, spend an entire practice or an entire week of practice hitting only that swing until it becomes a kill. Like, release that need to win the point, especially in the early part of the week, like when it's not far from a tournament and you're trying to get skill-based and technical-based fixes. That's a good note for coaches as well. Like, the way that we design our weekly practices for people who are competing is really technical-based early. try to make fixes. Then later in the week, we add some wash games that reward that thing that we were working on. And then like Thursday or Friday, let them play free. And hopefully that has just been added. It's totally different in preseason. Preseason, like you have to lock in all of your ball control and techniques. So you don't really need to get to super game competitive because you have a longer window to make changes. But I mean, we did this in our practices too. Like here, these are the only two ways that you can get a kill in this game. Like you can win the point and you can capture a serve receive or a serve, but you can't get a bonus point, you know?
Right.
And so you can just say like, hey, we'll play to 21 or we'll play the first team to 5 bonus points. And a bonus point is if you get a high hard line kill or if you get a cut shot kill, like whatever you want to work on. Just add a bonus point. And so then you've got 2 ways to win it. One by using your new or weak technique, and the other one by just grinding throughout the entire set. And such a good way to have a practice where you're playing.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's that's huge. Like one of the things that we witness at our camps a lot is people are like, "Yeah, but my group back home doesn't like to do drills." And that what you just explained is the easiest way for you to find a way to practice during your playing sessions. So like I'm sure you did this in New York whenever you were practicing with people around there. When I was in Virginia Beach, like I had a lot of guys down there that were really solid players, but once again, all they wanted to do was go out and play. And so I started creating restrictions on myself where like the first game, my first ball can only be a high line. You know, I realized that I had to start developing these shots in order to win. And so I would go and I would just hit my high line. And that does a couple things. One, it shows you that you get a lot of practice with hitting a high line. So you're getting the reps of doing that just like you would in a focused drill on it. But 2, you start realizing that you can score on hitting the same shot every single time, even when it gets to a point of people knowing that that's what you're doing.
Yep.
And that's like a really cool confidence builder because you're like, okay, as long as I hit this good, it can score. And so for those people that have always said, if you're one of those people that like you raise your hand and you're like, yeah, but my friends, all they want to do is play. This is the idea for you. I promise it will help you get better. That's you nailed it right on the head.
Let's talk a little bit about like maybe some options that people have because you know there are players that I have where I'm like, hey, you're really good at this, and then they go into a match and they hit that at the same percentage that they hit every other shot because it feels so situational instead of forcing yourself to do the thing. Like if you own or run a business, doing things in a certain way are difficult in other environments. But how do we apply the same principles even when it becomes difficult or we get blocked somehow, right? Like that's what establishing your shot is. But if your shot chart is just all over the map, that usually tells us that you don't have an offensive strategy or a game plan. So you're not imposing your will. This same way where, you know, I struggle with it because entrepreneurial mindset, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this test, this test, this test. I'm going to chase all of these things. And it's the weeks and days where I'm like, nope, 3 days, same task. This is the one that I'm going to do. You actually finally get better. You go a mile deep instead of a mile wide. So if you can establish that, and for a lot of shorter players, maybe if you're not jumping quite as high, I think one of the most underutilized combos is the short poke and the high, like it doesn't have to be super high, but something that just arcs over somebody's shoulders. And can you win a match hitting only middle pokey, high middle, and high cross? Like, can you win a match using just those 3? And if you can design your game to limit that when you're in practice, and then just because it's like we're saying it's in practice, if it worked in your practice, don't shed it for your tournament. Like oh my God, okay, I won 3 practice matches doing that. Oh, finally, I'm free for a tournament. Let's go. Like dude.
Let's crank balls 8 feet out of bounds.
Yeah. But I think, one of the advantages of that, of learning that little touch pokey, especially if you don't run at it like a Statue of Liberty, if you load and then quick stop to poke it. And I like to use the back of my fingers. Some might call it like illegal, but I've never been called on it. But
Eric's on thumb.
oh yeah. That short pokey can be devastating, I think, until like the AA or open level.
Right.
Because at that level, like there are open players and AA players who are there not because they're skilled or more skilled technically, but because they're more athletic. So the faster you get and the more you see the game and the stronger your legs are, the easier short balls become. Like you will see it super rare to see a blocker peel at the AVP level or FIVB level, and then the offense choose a short shot right in front of that blocker and it actually fall. Like it's not going to happen. People need to be aggressive and you need to use the back part of the court. But AA and below, people aren't reading the arm quite as well, and maybe they don't have that athleticism or the big steps to just lay down and get that dig easily. Like an AVP player laying down and getting a dig, if we miss that dig, it's like, what am I doing? That is outside the ordinary. But that play becomes like a 2 out of 10 success rate for somebody who's AA and below laying down and getting a quality dig. So even if you can get them to lay down, you've put them in trouble. And I think that short poke is completely underutilized. And then once they finally pick up on you and they only peel or they play in the front half of the court, like, okay, then you pump one over their shoulders and you make them have to play with a poke or a slap over the head.
Yeah, I think that's big. We see that at our. There's one guy at our league that
Pickles.
Pickles. Yeah, he crushes the short poke, and it's funny because people will even be screaming it before the point. They're like, "Watch him poke it short," and everybody does, and they just let it land.
Yeah, and they're playing him in front of half court, and still like not able to take that forward lunge or the dive and scoop the ball high enough to return a point. So if you're curious on pokes, just from our training and from our camps, number one, if your knuckles are together, this is a problem. Okay. Spread your hand. And there's a few different ways to poke. Okay. Now, some people can use just the 2 fingers. I don't love that. I like to leave my thumb out, and then I've got this little tripod just kind of sticking up.
I think for attacking, like if people are doing it on defense, I don't necessarily get my thumb involved. Do you?
Oh, really? Oh, I'm big. It's
you're big on thumbs.
It's probably like, it might be majority thumb. Just depending on the play.
I got some weak thumbs.
You can do that. And some people don't have like this, I don't know, their thumb doesn't shape that way. Maybe I would just try to explore it. We've got opposable thumbs. It should work for you.
Well, I've broken both my thumbs in college, so maybe I'm just like I'm on the IR.
There you go. Number 2 is just a full bear claw. So spread your fingers. Like both of these, whether you use 2 or whether you get a full bear claw, I've seen so many. I think a lot of the women, especially, like the strength in the fingers doesn't feel comfortable. And when we get them to open up all of their hands and go for a full bear claw and then poke, they're like, oh, that's how it feels. That's how it works. And then the ball just starts jumping off of them and they don't have that pain or the weakness in the fingers. Right. And then, so don't leave your fingers close. Like it shouldn't look like a little camel toe, right? It should be open and spread, whether you use the thumb or whether you use like full bear claw. Do not do the boxer punch. That is the first way for somebody to know that you might not be the player for their practice court. If you're using a boxer punch, like get rid of that. But like the advantage also to that poke is when you contact it there, you're actually maybe 4 inches higher of a contact point than letting it sink down to the bottom or middle of your palm. And so you can actually get on a ball, keep it a little bit flatter, and then maybe have some different steering capability than you would with your wrist. Because as soon as your wrist goes to one side of the ball, everybody knows where you're about to hit. But if you just angle slightly different from your hands, it's a little bit tougher to read.
Mm-hmm.
So I think more people to get their first win at those lower level tournaments, like use that short pokey shot and learn how to absolutely steer it, stand in the middle of the court, toss a ball way above your antenna, and then just steer it to one short corner or the other. And that will be an absolute threat. And if you see guys like Bill Kalinsky, he uses that counterflow pokey a lot, and it gets a lot of kills for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that strategy is really big for especially the like low intermediate beginner B unrated double B A. Yeah, that's big.
Yeah. And that gets you wins there. And then as soon as you've won, okay, like we'll talk about other techniques where you need to upgrade your level. But if we're just talking wins, like short and high deep combo will work if you allow that ball to just cross the middle zone or the sweet spot, which I call like between the shins and the shoulders. Basically, imagine the same strike zone that a hitter in baseball has. If you put the ball, if you allow it to cross in that strike zone, their defense is going to be quality. If you can make it cross them where like in baseball, it would be a ball, right? Like at head level or at feet level somehow, then it'll be a lot tougher for them to get a quality dig, and then you get the recycle.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
So before we break here, I just want a quick little 3-minute summary. I know you're working with a juniors club right now in Las Vegas. You're club consulting for them, working on some business development and some system development. But from your last meeting and maybe just like going into this next meeting, what are you working on with her from the club consulting side?
Yeah, so I'm currently working with two clubs actually. One is Milwaukee Sting, so we're like in the middle of the season with them. I had a call yesterday morning with their juniors, their girls. So just a quick chat where I did like a little Q&A. That whole system, the way it worked, because I've been working with them for like 3 years now, but coach up their coaches at the beginning. When I first started having these calls with Milwaukee Sting, it was about developing programs, how to get signups, everything like that, marketing systems. And then now we're kind of at the just coaching and add-on phase, which is really cool. With the club in Vegas, they're a brand new club. So they're just starting out. This is their first year. So a lot of the conversations that we've been having are around just trying to get leads, trying to I took kind of the step-by-step process that we've gone is understanding one, what are their goals? What are they trying to accomplish? And then two, how do you get there? And I think the biggest thing is like I'm helping them develop systems. You know, I think that's one of the things that I've seen with us that has provided so much kind of growth and ability to track and understand where things went right, where things went wrong. But right now we're in the middle of developing systems. So everything from practice plans, understanding coach responsibilities, player responsibilities, manager responsibilities. And it's so interesting how important those are, you know, and I think a lot of the times people go the way we did, where we were like, hey, let's start this business. And then as we went, we created these systems, you know? And so I'm kind of passing on the knowledge that you and I have kind of went through of trying to avoid some pain points and getting them their systems set up quickly. The calls have been fantastic. You know, I think it's, I don't want to go into too much detail just because it's pretty sensitive to them. But we've already gone through just basic responsibilities that they need to be doing on a daily basis. The manager and kind of the club director.
You mean like from marketing or from texting their coach?
Everything,
Texting their players?
marketing, coaching, coach development, coach responsibilities, everything like that. And then we've dealt with like, okay, this coach isn't quite listening to me. How do I do that? How do I have that conversation? Um, Again, systems.
Yeah.
Set up a detailed idea. Like when we run a camp, we send people our manual, and it has step one, contact this
Every
person. Step
practice laid
two,
out.
get a speaker. Yeah. And just getting the point across to them that like more details are better. So like if you can think of it like go through your day of leading up to a practice, what do you do? What are you expecting? And make sure that those
I
are
think people
outlined
make that
well.
mistake. They're like, well, I don't know. I just show up to practice. It's like, well, no, didn't you sit in the car for 12 minutes trying to write up a practice plan?
Right.
Okay, let's break that down. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
you, what were you thinking when you were making your practice plan? Like, what are we working on? What goals are there? Okay, now what drills? Like for me, when we started growing, it was how do I take everything that I've done naturally in my mind that I
Mm-hmm.
don't think is a process, but the thought process of
Right.
showing up to practice. What do I want? What do my dream players do when I show up to practice or when they show
Mm-hmm.
up to the gym? Like, do they know that? I
Right.
know that you have a vision of it and that you're like, oh, kids today, they just don't blah, blah, blah. It's like, have you ever told them this is what you have to do? If you don't, you're kicked out for 10 minutes and
Right.
then like reset your
Yeah.
start.
And make it as specific as possible. You know, like something as simple as like, hey, get to the gym 30 minutes early, unlock the door,
Yeah.
turn on the lights,
Mm-mm.
set up the welcome table, write your drill, write your practice plan on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Like whatever you do, write it down, because like if you're doing that, then and that's one of the big things that we've been talking about is like the system has to work from the top down,
Mhm.
and as long as if you're doing it, then everybody else needs to do it. That's how good companies work.
Mhm.
Is it has to be followed by everybody, and so yeah, that's kind of it's been really cool. You know, I've wanted to do it for a couple years. You know, like we've kind of been working with players, we've been working with coaches, and so I think the next step for us is really developing just clubs entirely.
Yeah.
And with our experience of indoor and beach, it's extremely helpful. So like with this Milwaukee Sting that I'm working with, they're a beach club. This club in Vegas is indoor.
Mm.
And so it doesn't matter if you're a beach club or if you're an indoor club. If you're just trying to optimize your company, then we can help, because a lot of times there's a lot of questions that I can ask you, and those questions you might not have thought of, or we can just go more in depth and really figure out how to make it work perfectly.
Yeah. And if you guys just need to get started, like if you don't want to sign up for the whole club consultant program and use all
Right.
the systems that we've got and have us steer you through it, but you will never get beyond a satisfactory level for yourself with like more than 12 players until you start writing down and collecting every single thing you do. And if you get 100 signups on your second year when you had 10 or 12 on your first year, you're going to be really overwhelmed during that time. So right now, if you are just the coach that started with 10 players and you're like, oh, I think maybe I can like scale this up to get a club and get a few more teams, the first thing you need to do right now is start writing down every second of your day that has to do with volleyball, and not just the actions you take, but the thoughts that you thought before taking that action, so that you can start that. And
Right.
if you guys are ever interested and you want to DM me on Instagram, I've got a coach's report card. We include that in our How to Coach Beach Volleyball course, but it is a simple step-by-step, like a checklist for you to say, hey, coach, here's your report card. All you need to do is say, did I do this during practice? And it comes with, I think, like 30 items that show you if you ran an elite practice. So if you want to check that out, just hit me up with a DM. It's a PDF and I'll send it to you. But that's how like we rate our coaches, is looking at them. And that only came from me walking around camps saying, he's not quite doing that right. This is getting sticky. And then what correction did we make? Okay, now I got to go write that down as like, how do we get this into the hands of every coach before they show up for a practice?
I like it. Yeah, and I'm currently working with these two clubs in two different ways. So with the Milwaukee Sting, which is an established beach club, it's got a certain amount of players. The way that one works is it's per seat. So it's like however many athletes you have, we create a plan based on what intensity you want, and it's billed out based on the per person that you have. But we also work with the athletes, which is really cool.
Yeah.
With this club in Vegas, it's just consulting. So I meet with them once a week, hour-long call, and then those are just hourly chats. So there are a couple different ways that we can do it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Speaking of teams, I gotta get and go. We're working on fixing our members' arm swings and jump mechanics. If you guys want to jump in, you can do that right now. We have 4 more weeks of fixing jump and arm swing mechanics, where you as a player get to submit the videos that I tell you to, and then we go and we critique them. And that's what I'm about to do for the next hour with our online members, where we're fixing jump mechanics and arm swing mechanics for the next month. So you can either get a course bundle. I really recommend that. You get every one of our courses and workout programs, or you can sign up for the Fix Your Arm Swing standalone course on our homepage, and then just tick the button on checkout that says add the Inner Circle membership, so that you can go through the course, but I can also help you and watch your video and critique you and give you the commentary and the weekly Q&As. So $49 a month to meet with me every week for an hour and have me watch your film and give you the next steps. That's a ridiculously good deal and significantly cheaper than you would get for any volleyball class or training anywhere else. So sign up for that course, add the Inner Circle membership, and then let's get started.
I like it. Quick shout out. We got an email this past weekend of one of our campers, Kumi, who won a tournament. I think she got 2 golds, and I'm not 100% sure what the tournament was, but I know it was up in Seattle. I think it was like her senior division, but she had a lot of really cool things to say about all the stuff she's learned at camps and how she's finally teaching her partners to do what Better Beach does. So that's phenomenal. And then I also got a message from one of our campers, Jen, who played in the tournament and used a lot of our keys from a past camp in Milwaukee. Gave us a little shout out, and she was happy with her play. So just want to shout out those 2 people.
Cool. Great. All right. From us and from everyone at Better at Beach, we will see you on the sand.